Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. We're going to have a look at the ECDF 30-day model for today's first video, looking at temperature and rainfall anomalies for the next 4 weeks for the UK and also for the rest of Europe too. And I shall get on with that for you very short. It's going to take us through to the early part of October. So coming up later on today, we're going to have your 10 to 14 day view update. That will include all of the regular features, of course. And then tonight on the blog at GavsWeatherVids.com, we're going to have a written post looking at the ECMWF seasonal model. That's going to take us into the winter months with the ECMWF seasonal model. And that will be coming up for you tonight on the blog at GavsWeatherVids.com. But kicking it all off is the ECMWF 30-day look at the UK and the rest of Europe as well. From Copernicus.eu, big thanks to them for supply of the charts. And I think we'll get on with it. So I'm going to start off with week 1 temperature anomaly for Europe. It's taking us from the 14th through to the 20th of September. So slightly cooler as you can see, extreme north of Europe and into the extreme northwest of Russia. A little bit cooler than average there, with temperatures like around a degree. Around a couple of degrees below average. However, that's the exception to the rule. Most other parts of Europe are looking warm, very warm, or hot. It is a little bit cooler through the central part of the Med down into northern parts of Africa. But those two, extreme north, extreme south, parts of Europe are the exceptions. Most parts of Europe are looking warmer than average, with anomalies of around 1, 2, 3 degrees above average. Particularly notably very hot across France and Western Europe. So like France to Germany to the Low Countries, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, looking very substantially hotter than average there, with temperature anomalies up to 5, 6, 7, maybe even for central France, 8 degrees above average. Very, very hot for the time of year across western parts of Europe. That warmth does extend into the UK and Ireland as well, where you have temperatures around 2 to 3 degrees above average on the eastern side of Europe. It's not as hot there, but even so, temperatures are still a bit above average at around 1 to 2 degrees warmer than normal. Down through the Mediterranean, most parts of the Med are above average. Most parts of the Med have above average temperatures. Again, particularly notably through the central part of the Med, where we're around sort of 2 to 3 degrees above average as well. But it really is like in the west of Europe, especially focused on France to the Low Countries to Western Germany, where the temperatures are very, very hot for the time of year during this week from the 14th to 20th of September. Precipitation wise, we look like that. So most parts of Europe are looking dry in the week ahead. So we do have a couple of notably wet areas. Again, the extreme north of Europe, like North Scandinavia into the far northwest of Russia. It's a bit wet average there. And then down across Spain and Portugal, also wetter than average there, extending out into the Atlantic Ocean. But for most parts of Europe, again, the precipitation anomaly is substantially above average, or below average, I should say. Significantly drier than average week coming up, with seemingly high pressure dominating from like the UK and Ireland and France in west, right way over to Black Sea in the east. So there's a large near stationary area of high pressure, I think, covering most parts of northern and western Europe, with the jet stream and the low pressures up here. And there's obviously some lower pressure down there as well. But generally, it's high pressure that's dominating weather across most parts of Europe in week 8, keeping things very dry. Down in the Med, so it's wet across Spain and Portugal. Elsewhere, though, from there right way over to the east part of the Mediterranean, generally dry and average, and particularly notably so around Italy and over the Adriatic in towards the Balkans. Week 2 temperature anomaly taking us from the 21st to 27th of September. Cooler than average across northern parts of Europe, so again Scandinavia down to Denmark and into like northern parts of the UK and Ireland. A bit cooler than average through there. Going further southwards, it remains warm to hot. Not as hot in this week 2, as it is in week 1. But nevertheless, particularly again, notably from France through to Germany, it looks generally quite significantly above average with the temperature anomaly. Over on the eastern side of Europe, it's a bit cooler than average there from the Black Sea through to western parts of Russia. And through the Mediterranean, again, it's looking pretty hot. We've got sort of Spain and Portugal a bit below average, but elsewhere, generally it's a warmer than average week, especially through that central basin of the Mediterranean. The precipitation anomaly for week 2, 21st, 27th of September, is looking like this. So, driving average from the Balkans to the Black Sea, some higher pressure there. Presumably, the ridge is kind of collapsing, I would have thought, into the east and into southeast Europe. So it's drier through there. Generally going wetter though, further westwards. So Norway again looking particularly wet through there. Parts of either the UK is a little bit above average with rainfall. I mean, down into France again, it's wetter than average through there. And that wetter than average weather extends into the central bowl of the Mediterranean. It looks like we're breaking down the ridge and starting to turn things a little bit more unsettled here for week 2. It's not overly unsettled, but it does look as though the ridge is probably collapsing into eastern and southeastern parts of Europe, and low pressure is beginning to get its act together, start to come in from off the Atlantic slightly. Right, we go through to week 3, which takes us from the 28th of September to the 4th of October. So this week is looking a bit cooler than average again across Scandinavia, extending into the far north of Scotland. Iceland also looking cooler than average. Above average temperatures from France down to Spain and Portugal. Most parts of central Med also warmer than average. The eastern part of Med warmer than average as well. So yeah, southern Europe looks generally warm. Far north of Europe looks cooler. In between, probably near normal temperatures or no signal through much of Ireland, much of the UK, much of much of Germany, most sort of areas, Poland, near normal or no signal through there. So south of Europe is warm, but north of Europe is cool. In between, it's about average. Precipitation-wise, we look like this. Again, north-south split, really, for this week, 28th of September, 4th of October. Wetter than average across northern Europe, above average rainfall in the north of Europe. Southern Europe, though, looking generally on the drier than average side. Very gradually, I think we're seeing signs of a jet stream and areas of low pressure beginning to reinvigorate a bit across the northern parts of Europe. So it's beginning to turn more and more unsettled, I think, as we come to the end of September and into the start of October for for northern Europe. Southern Europe still dominated by a lot of high pressure, keeping things mainly dry and quite warm. Then finish up in week 4, which takes us from the 5th through to the 11th of October. And again, we're looking like this. So again, it's quite a warm scene across southern Europe. Most parts of Europe have above average temperature anomalies. Means warm temperatures extend northwards into France, towards the Low Country, into the west of Germany as well. Further north of that, though, for Ireland, the UK, and up to Scandinavia, have near normal temperature anomalies, a bit cooler than average to the north of Scotland, back towards Iceland. Eastern parts of Europe, again, looking about average for the temperature anomaly across the eastern part of Europe in this 4th week. And lastly, we've got week 4 rainfall anomalies, which look like this. So again, we've got the far north of Europe, drier than average. So back to higher pressure for UK, for Ireland, and possibly Scandinavia too. Wetter than average from France, Spain, and Portugal, the Bay of Biscay up to from Spain, Portugal, Bay of Biscay up to France. Then east and southeastern parts of Europe are looking rather drier there. It does vary quite a bit from area to area. Possibly signs of things going a little bit more unsettled through the Mediterranean as well than they have been up to this point. Remember, further out you go, more unreliable it all starts to get. So by the time you get through to week 4, you really are in the realm of speculation. Right, so but we're going to set out even further than that in the live stream tomorrow. So from 6 o'clock we're going to be live streaming, and we'll live stream a 10 to 14 day video update. But what we'll also do with that one is have a look at weeks 5 and 6 temperature and rainfall anomalies from the ECMWF, and that will take us right away into the second half of October. And that will be coming up in the live stream tomorrow from 6 o'clock in the evening. But overall, it looks like we're starting off very hot and dry across most parts of northern and western Europe, and then sort of turning it a little bit more unsettled, a little bit cooler as we come towards the last stages of September into the early part of October. A little bit more of an autumnal flavour to the weather by then. That's how it's looking. Just a snapshot of what Mon has shown this week. Could all look very, very different next week. Any forecast beyond 5-7 days comes with big health warnings and is fraught with danger. So yeah, it could all look completely different next week. We're back later on your 10 to 14 day video updates, so come back for that then. That will include all the regular features for this video. That's all now, and thanks for watching.